Happy Sunday, everybody. It's Donnie B.GotDaBeats. We live on 2 Flu West. I'm here with my brother Nicholas Baker. What's going on, Nick?
What's happening, bro? You know, and just another Sunday, watching my Las Vegas Raiders get their tail whooped yet again. You know, it is what it is. I feel like that's a common thread every Sunday. I'm starting with that line. I would love to change it, but it is what it is, bro. You know,
hey, my team right behind you too. They just got they got their behind opened up by the Cowboys today, and it's just embarrassing. But you know, whatever. We gonna keep that. That's a that.
At least they made it. At least they made it respectable. We lost like 48 to like 10. Like it ain't okay. They bought in their second string quarterback, Chad Henning. Anytime you bring in Chad Henning,
yeah,
you know things have gone bad.
It's a wrap. But listen, we got to keep it moving, man. We excited to have a very, very special guest on us joining today. A brother of ours that I definitely could feel I can say brother, somebody that we know and has been near and dear to us for many years, from the good old days of the marching force at Hampton Institute University. Mr. Drum Major, sir. Curtis Keywas. What's going on,
Curtis? Sir, gentlemen. Peace and blessings, man. I'm just excited to be on, man. Again, thank you so much for providing me with this opportunity to join you all on this Sunday, man. So just excited to connect with the good brothers.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Great to have you on.
Yeah, we was chopping it up a little bit before we got on, man. I'm just like always excited to catch up with brothers that we had past experiences with. You know, those Hampton days are amazing, and we went through some great things. So definitely looking forward to chopping it up and catching up to see what you've been up to, man. So look, we do no shucking, we do no jiving. We get right to the takeoff. So question number 1 is, who is Curtis Ross?
Word up, yeah. So Curtis Ross, well, a native of Southwest Atlanta, GA for sure. And yeah, man. So for the most part, man, just came out of Atlanta, Georgia. Music head, band head, and for me it was always a life of. I grew up. I was blessed to be able to grow up, and I say that I'm not to say that someone's not blessed, but I was blessed to be able to grow up in a suburban kind of environment, more kind of just off the side out of the city. Mom and dad for the most part were in the house. They are divorced, but like I said, I had that parental guidance for the most part, and just really have had this perspective and this opportunity to really see life from so many varying perspectives. May baby, so I fall under the Gemini sign. So, I've definitely had my ebbs and flows when it comes to how I respond to life and how I see life, just based on that sign or whatever. However, I have evolved as well to how do I control those emotions and things of that nature. And, I obviously had a pleasure to, connect with you guys at Hampton. So I've had my HBCU experience. And now in this professional space, just looking to really be able to serve the community of people, not only my brothers and sisters, but just the world, as I continue to press forward into that next level and evolve into one of the biggest personal development coaches you've seen.
And there it is. There it is. If I didn't tell you before we got started, this is that pen and pad alert. Make sure you get your pen, your pad out, your iPad, whatever you take notes on, get your pad out now. Make sure, because I'm sure it's going to be some gems dropped in this interview, and you don't want to miss them. Though if you miss them, you can always replay.
For
Give
sure.
us another view. I ain't mad at it.
Show the love. Show the love. Show me some love. Show me some love.
Show the love. So we talked about professional development. We're going to kind of peel back some layers. So the first part I want to know is just, how did you get started in like the health and wellness field? Like, how did you get started in that part?
Yeah, so I can actually take that back to about 2004, 2005. It wasn't too long after I left Hampton University. And really, to be quite frank, gentlemen, my body literally just wigged out on me. And it was like I was in a battle for my life. I was already seeing holistic doctors and things because that was the lifestyle that my mom had provided to me even before I came to college. So I was always familiar with the Western medicine philosophy as well as Eastern medicine philosophy. So I was able to kind of stand in between the two. Nevertheless, again, body wigged out, started having some really crazy challenges, specifically in the area of my eyes. And so maybe about my late 20s, I was actually diagnosed with a condition called iritis. And what you're really dealing with there is your eyes. There's pressure that begins to build up in your eyes. And just really over time, when we talk about multiple doctors, man, I probably spent at least a good 10 years trying to really get to a point where I understood what I needed to do to really fix myself. And so really just to break it down like this, it came down to this. When the ophthalmologist told me that I was going to have to use eye drops for the rest of my life, and imagine I'm like 27 years old and I'm thinking the rest of my life sounds pretty far out there, then I'm saying to myself, something's wrong with this picture. I have to change the paradigm, right? Now, I wasn't thinking word paradigm at that time, but I knew that something was not correct with the image and the information he was providing to me. So I told myself, and I agreed, well, self, look, eye drops ain't gonna work for the rest of your life. So you got to figure out what you need to do to fix the problem. And so I went to work, man. I started studying my body. I started figuring out what I needed all the way down to blood type. And I just started reinventing myself. And in the process, as I was fixing myself, the doctors was trying to figure out, was there anything that they can name and diagnose, but they could never diagnose anything because it was like, we've tested everything. There's nothing wrong with you. There's just this weird little thing with your eyes. And I said, well, I think I figured it out. I think if I treat my body better, my body won't get pissed at me. So for me, what I identify, and this is how I really start to help people, is that oftentimes there's two things that's happening. There are some people that have outward displays of their body's response to what they're doing, and therefore they can catch it quickly, right? There are other people that you still have to be aware that maybe your body's not responding, but maybe there's some things going on and you still need to stay ahead of it anyway, because our bodies still give us those alarms. My alarm was just mad aggressive, right? And so I had to respond to it. But yeah, man, I just got on it. I lost the weight because I was, bigger than I am now. And yeah, just really refined my physical fitness. But I'll tell you, man, and we'll probably get into it later, but as I refined my physical fitness and my physical health, I also began to see that it was spilling over into my mental and spiritual health as well.
Yeah, that's unfortunate you had to go through so much, brother. I didn't know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. No. Donnie, I'm gonna switch the questions up a little bit. I'm gonna go to question 4, and then I'm gonna come back to question 3, because I think this ties in a little bit more. Like, just thinking about what you just said about your health, why is it so important for men in particular to pay more attention to their health?
I would say key number 1 is purpose, desire, and destiny. I'll just culminate into those 3 words: purpose, desire, and destiny. For men, I believe that we have a significant purpose just as men in cultural society today. And then, of course, I have to make sure I specifically address Black men. And so we have that, and we have the desire to be influential, the desire to succeed in some capacity, right, relative to what we want to accomplish in our lives. Right. And then just destiny, man. Like we're on a course, we're on a journey. Life is about the journey. It's not about the destination. We've heard that many times. We're recycling a lot of data and a lot of information we've gathered. So again, it's about the destiny. And for me, that key element is that your health is tied to your mental capacity, and it's tied to your spiritual wellness. So it's just like, but if you think about it, gentlemen, and I'll paint the picture this way, think about it like this: when you have a headache and you got a headache, for the most part, reading and engaging and doing something mentally fit to get yourself, you're probably not going to feel like doing it because your body's saying, look, I need you to chill out. And so again, so that when you think about it just in a simple state, it's like, yeah, typically my body's not in line. There's very little that I feel like doing to do anything else. So when I get my body aligned and my body is feeling at its best, now I'm able to engage and activate it at the high level. That's why I call my program Optimum Performance, because it's about operating at your optimum level in the marketplace. And so for our brothers, especially because I went through a period of time in my late 30s where I was seeing a lot of young soldiers fall because of heart disease and things, it really began to speak to me like, man, I got to really start talking to my brothers more and saying, hey, let's start tuning in and tuning up before we have those situations, because when your heart attacks, it attacks.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting because you talked about a piece earlier where you said, you went to the doctor and kind of got, they did a lot of tests. They gave you a name or something, gave you a diagnosis, but you kind of felt like, I think it may be a little more, and kind of did your research. I think that's so like key and important because I don't know, like there is this piece with the medical system, and I know men in general tend to not want to go to the doctor. That's just like the first thing. Like, we think we incredible, invincible, can't nothing hurt us until we laid up. You know what I mean? But there is this piece of it that, I think in the medical industry, they are quick to want to put you on medication or say you need to do these 15 pills and you're going to be doing it for the rest of your life. I think, what is that balance? Like, you know what I mean? How do you figure out that balance if I do need to go get checked out, but everything that they might say might not be on point for what I actually need? Like, what are your thoughts on like figuring out that balance?
Well, first of all, I definitely start out by simply making sure people understand, and this is what I even do when I'm doing personal development sessions individually, is that we got to control the controllable. And the one thing you got to make sure you're responsible for, one thing you got to make you responsible for is that when you go to the doctor, you need to know more about your body than the doctor knows. So if you think about it, when you go to the doctor's asking you questions because they're trying to get to some kind of idea of where to even start with you. But imagine if you can go in and tell your doctor what your resting heart rate is. You can tell your doctor what your blood pressure was from 24 hours ago. Imagine if you can tell your doctor what, when you're exercising, what that high rate is. Like, I can run at an 8 or a 9 on a treadmill and my heart rate gets up to this. I can tell you these numbers, guys. But guess what? When I'm telling the doctor these numbers, I'm cutting my visit down 5-10 minutes. I was like, okay, well, I understand all that. So let's go ahead and check this. Let's check this. We don't have to poke and pry. Because if you think about it, every little poking and pry that the doctor does is a bill. Yeah, that's right. The first thing. If you think about it from a financial standpoint, every piece of poking and pry that they do, every new machine that they hook you up to because you don't know the information, that's a bill. So if you look at it like that, control the controllables. Men, people, understand your own body. This is your body you got to live with. This is your body you got to go to sleep, wake up with, do business in the marketplace. This is your body. So it's like, forgive me for my intensity, but it's your body. Like, even if I don't say anything else, gentlemen, it's your body. It's not the doctor's body. It's not the medical environment's body. I can get into the medicine. I can get on a little rabbit trail with medicine. And yeah, for me, I'll just to give you an idea where I see medicine. Medicine is the ER of life. Medicine should be, okay, I got a headache. I take this Advil or whatever I used to take for headaches to kind of bring it down. But now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do what I need to do to physically get myself aligned. How did I get that headache? Was I overstressed? Was I doing? Let me do what I need to do to manage. Let me control my part so that I can make sure those headaches don't dominate me. And now I gotta be connected with these medicines, thinking that they help me when they really don't. Because anyway, like I said, I'm gonna tell that one for now. But again, control what you control. Know your body. How do you know your body? You got to ask questions. You got to probe. You got to figure it out. You got to read. You got to say, okay, if my life is if I want to live a quality life, I got to have a quality body.
Yep, that's it is.
That's the first one.
Pen and pad. Take your notes. Take your notes. Yeah, no, because I'm a strong believer that nobody should have to be on anything for the rest of their life. Like that just doesn't calculate to me. Like, I kind of think, like you said, the ER thing makes sense. Like, take something that, okay, initially do what you got to do, but like to say I have to do this for the rest of my life, there's literally nothing you can do to reverse or fix is like kind of hard to calculate. So you heard that out there. Study your body, get to know, what's going on with yourself. Yeah, I'm taking this advice in as well. Okay, cool. So kind of switching it a little bit, just to throw something out there. How would you define success?
I'll offer up a saying from a gentleman I listen to, old school. Like I'm talking about, I listen to things off YouTube, guys, that's from the 1920s, man. And it's a gentleman by the name of Earl Nightingale. And the gentleman says that success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. But I'll pull from that. As a personal development coach, although I have licensed myself as a life coach, I wanted to make sure that I coined myself properly because I'm about personal development. And so getting to success, how I define success is truly how that person's paradigm is aligned with their desires from day to day. And are you hitting those goals? I'll give an example. Today I had some specific items that I need to prepare for, and I had a time limit of those items. And so I was successful, right? And so I walked away at noon today with this feeling of success, right? Because I got those things done, right? Those are things that are not going to stress me later because you didn't get them done. I think sometimes we want to be cautious and careful with how far we put success out there, right? Because we live in a time where success looks like a Lamborghini or a multi-million-dollar mansion. But I think we could stand to be more successful in our lives when we look at success like maintaining a relationship. When we look at success like, you know what? I got a program that I sponsor, and I'm there every Sunday, every Monday. I'm getting guests. I'm successfully getting guests every day, or successfully getting guests every week. You know what? That's progress, because again, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. So success to me is, what are you taking away on your journey? If there's a failure, or if you're, either way it goes, if it's not working out, if it's working out, there's always something to take away. So success is, what are you taking away to keep moving forward?
Yeah. I love it. It's, in my day work, I ran a section where we were talking about goals versus systems, and it's kind of the same thought process. Like, people set these goals, and that's all they focus on is this goal, and not realizing, like, to get to the goal, a lot of times you have to build a system that's going to be sustainable, that you're working every day, and you feel like if it's this like high ranging goal, the every day that you're putting in work, I haven't succeeded because I didn't hit the goal, right? So now I'm not feeling like I'm succeeding, or I'm having that positive feeling, because all I'm seeing is the goal. Where if you set the system, you actually are setting little small achievable things daily that, like you said, now I'm getting that positive out, that positive energy that's saying, today I knocked out the 5 things towards my bigger goal, but today's goal was met. Right. And I feel good about it. You know what I mean? And that's key in so many different things. And I think it's just a mindset, because we're always taught, set a goal, go get it. You know what I mean? But it's the pieces in between. Yeah. And that, like you said, the journey, the process, that's actually where you build and get, the I don't know, that sustainability of actually reaching that last piece of the goal. So
I'll add this real quick, D, before you move on. Success, it's Jim Rohn said this. I got to give credit where it's due. He said it's not about what you gain in the process of success. It's who you become in the process. It's not about what you gain in the process of success. It's who you become. And so what we're talking about here is the journey makes you. The destination just announces that you've arrived, but the journey makes you who you are. It evolves you. It causes you to possibly change, or it causes you to digress. Regardless of what, the journey is where the memories are created. The journey is what, when it's all said and done, Jim, if you think about it, 10 years from now, our conversation is about everything that happened in the process, not about the lifestyle that we're living. I mean, it's great, right? But it's all about, you remember when. And oftentimes those conversations relate to things in the past on the journey.
Hey, look, that's so real. And I think it just touches on so many things we've even all been a part of. I went straight to the marching band, right? Like, we used to learn pieces of the drill every day, right? It was like we didn't learn necessarily the whole drill every day. I mean, the first day. It was like, all right, here's the first half. Here's the second half. Like, and it culminated in that like 5 to 7 minute show on Saturday. But if we didn't get it the first part on Monday, we would have never got to Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So, man, look, feel like I'm about to be developing something. No, you're doing. Look, you got me feeling some kind of way, brother. All right, let's go to the next question. Talking about being a personal development coach, what do you find most rewarding about being a personal development coach, and then what's most challenging?
Okay. Most rewarding when it comes to helping people personally develop is when the light bulb goes off in their head. So because I already have an idea and I know what my objective is. My objective is for that person to identify and for their objective to culminate and realize. Because see, that's where the ultimate success comes into play. Because once you realize what you need to do, once you realize what you want to do, now you can personally buy into it, because it wasn't anything I sold you. It was something that it literally came from within you. See, what we have to recognize is that the success formula, or the capacity to succeed, is not something that we go get. The capacity to succeed is something that we draw out.
Mm.
See, there's an infinite quality of success and power and capability that already exists in us. However, our learned behavior says to go look at other things externally and try to figure that out. But no, what I do is I say, when I get with you, I'm going to be your mirror.
Mm.
And so I'm going to help people understand. I tell people this when I'm working with them. You're the center of your universe. Think about it, gentlemen. Just think about it real quick. Without you, nothing else matters because you're the center of your universe, right? The value of everything that happens has you at the center of it.
Mm.
If you didn't exist, then there's no reality that matters, right? You're just a conversation that people have about you. But as far as you're concerned, you're the center of that universe. So guess what you get to do? And that's why I talk about this, creating a life of your dreams. You get to create the life that you want to live, right? And so again, just to make sure I answer the question on the rewarding part is, again, the person realizing that Godship, that infinite intelligence that lives in them.
Mm-hmm. Hold it. Think about it.
Just the computer trying to catch up.
Did I lose you out? We still there? Okay.
Now you back.
And now challenging would definitely be probably the other side of that, and which is simply the person that fights self-realization.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have developed this paradigm and this way of thinking that says that it's not my fault. It's not my responsibility. So therefore, I find it more comforting to point the finger and to put the blame somewhere else other than myself. However, as a personal development coach, I'm here and I can only be a mirror. So even my disclaimer when I'm working with people is this: when you're working with me, if you try to bring somebody else into the conversation, I'm going to politely escort them out of the conversation. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, you are the primary responsibility in the relationship and whatever it is. And when you change, you force everything in your environment to change. Mm-hmm. You require everything in your environment to change. But until you change, don't expect anything else to. So the challenging part of personal development is a person that doesn't want to develop.
Got it.
Talk about multi-dimensional quantum. Boy, you better get out of here with your education, brother. Like you.
Look, I told you I'll get your pen and pad out. iPad, whatever you call it, make it happen. All right, so it sounds like you do a lot of work with people, development with people, inspiring people. Who inspires you?
I would definitely say, as I look at, and I'm gonna pull from two, I'll call them cultures or decades, so to speak. Right now, my playlist YouTube goes two ways. It goes back into the 1920s. You got people like Jim Rohn, Earl Nightingale, and there's probably one other name. Bob Proctor. So it's like, and these are all three older white males. Three older white males. However, the information that they have provided to the public over the years, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, it's just phenomenal. Actually, a lot of the texture of what I have that I'm sharing with you all is a culmination not only of my biblical studies, but also just the expanding and how they've expanded my mind when it comes to universal intelligence and the human genome and just everything of that nature, right? And then we come into the 21st century and we see Black males in particular. And of course, I don't want to leave out my Black women like the Oprahs, but again, standards, right? But then I definitely look at like the Will Smiths and the Tyler Perrys, and I look at how they continue to reinvent the opportunity, because I think every day we wake up to an opportunity. And I like the idea that, because if you look at Will Smith in particular, it's just like it is just freaking amazing, right? It's just like we look at the rapper Will Smith, but I don't even know if he can be coined that. He's the used to be rapper Will Smith. Now he's Will, right? That's the title of his self-titled book.
Yeah. And
so that's inspiring. Like when I have the opportunity to sit down with Will Smith, that's going to be a phenomenal experience for me, right? Because I get a chance to really get into his head, have that conversation, and really see, okay, what kept him going, what brought him to the space where he just wouldn't give up and he wanted to continue to reinvent himself. So, you know, you have those older ones that I look to and I glean from, and then you have like the Tyler Perrys and the Will Smiths and the Oprahs on a larger scale, right? Because I guess you go from the old school to the new school, and I pull from all of them something that's inspiring and something that I can leverage to build myself.
Dope. That Will book is amazing, by the way. If you haven't read it, please read it. It's a great read. Will, great book.
I need to check it out.
All right, so something you have coming up, Born to Be Dope Summit. You are a featured speaker. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, actually, I'm really excited about this one. Good brother, actually a fraternity brother of mine from Hampton University. His name is Ryan C. Green, and he's into multimedia right now. And so, you know, of course, you know, anybody that's listening, check him out. And he's in multimedia. He's been doing projects. However, I tell you, gentlemen, he's been doing projects, and he's been inviting me on to various projects to join in and be a part of the team. However, this one really stood out because of my musical background, right? And, you know, because I was just like, well, I knew I was definitely born to be dope. And this is time to really express and share my dopeness, right? Yeah. So it's really a platform where we're going to marry in that ideal, that culture of hip hop, the blackness, the sincere blackness of who we are. And we're also going to bring our strengths to the table, right? We're going to bring what we're doing for the community and our services to the table. And so it's an exciting adventure that we're going to go on. He's put some multimedia projects together where we actually have filmed like a full like docuseries where you'll see some components of me in the docuseries. We got an audio book that's going to be launching, man. So it's going to be a part of that. And we actually transitioned that marketing material from a physical book to a marketing. And we were really inspired. Actually, Ryan was inspired to do that from the Will Smith book. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the audio released and the audio just went crazy. Mm-hmm. So we recognized that this audio, that streaming audio was really a big market. So we decided to actually take the book project to audio. So between the actual conference itself, the virtual conference in February, the docuseries that's going to launch and come out, and the audiobook, man, I'm just excited to be a part of the conversation of bringing this information that I'm sharing with you all to the forefront, and more importantly, begin to capture more opportunities to personally help people personally develop one mind at a time.
Nice. Definitely check it out. I know it's in February. Born to Be Dope Summit. Make sure y'all check that out and get more information. We definitely want to check it out and make sure, you know, we can highlight whatever we can here at Two Flew West.
Yeah, they follow the links that you guys provided and everything to catch up with me, and I'll definitely make sure everybody can link up because I'll be marketing and continuing to share the registration information.
Dope. You see those links right at the bottom of the page. Make sure you follow, subscribe. That's what we always ask you to do. All right. So you talked about it a little bit, but we're going to dive a little more into it. What are some of the lessons or experiences you took from going to an HBCU? To be more exact, Hampton University, the HU.
Shout out to him.
Well, at 40 something years old, I no longer drink and drive. Okay. So I'm good on that. But I'll tell you, when we were all in college, you know, that was definitely one of the grand experiences. We were tough. We had tough skin, right? Yep, drop some cognac and get in the car.
Right to it.
Yeah. You know, but what I'll say one of my bigger takeaways though is definitely fellowship, relationship, connection. And, you know, I thank God for social media because it's allowed me to keep that connection even stronger because I'm connected with so many more HBCU, or Hamptonians per se, you know, versus, of course, if we didn't have social media and we were only connected through text message or emails, hey, how this person doing, how that person doing, right? So I think that's phenomenal. And, you know, having gone to HBCU, it's the pride. I take away the pride, man. I take away the pride of knowing that we have such rich history and rich heritage. And the fact that, I mean, to be quite frank, and this is more my arrogant part of it, man, we just got some beautiful people that come from Hampton University, man. It's just, it's hard to not find a beautiful personality when they say Hampton, bro. And that's, you know, I hold my head up Somebody asked me, college, Hampton University. What? I mean, somebody else exists right now, and so you really have that capacity. And but Hampton holds true, right? So you can feel that way and know that Hampton backs it. Because even since we left, as far as I can tell, Hampton University has still been just climbing. They haven't leveled off yet, and I find that phenomenal. Of course, under the leadership of President Harvey, and of course, I don't know if he's retired out officially yet, but yeah, man, just a phenomenal experience, and I love my HIU, man.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, if I may, man, expand the question, Baker. How about you?
I mean, everything Curtis just said, like, hits the nail on the head. It's one of those experiences that it's unlike anything else. You know what I mean? You're never going to have that experience like that anywhere else. No matter where you go, you can't duplicate it. You know what I mean? Like, you may have experiences that give you something that this reminds me of, or this kind of feels like, but it's not that, right? And that's just like, from the marching band to the being on the yard, to not crossing the Ogden Circle, to, going to the calf, putting chairs up and getting food, like little experiences that just resonate so much now, from like, parties, house parties, to the classes, to the music classes with Dr. Stokes, you know what I mean? Like the Bob Ransom, rest in peace. Like, you know what I mean? Like Ogden Hall concerts and being in the band itself, like, shout out to Thomas Jones, like taking the band to new levels right now. You know what I mean? They just was in the Macy's Day Parade, and like, you feel like a part of that when you see it. You know what I mean? Like, like you see it happening, you see them out there marching, you see that next legacy. Like, we got people who we marched with who their kids are now in the band. You know what I'm saying? And just seeing that type of stuff is just like, you can't help but feel prideful about it. And I wouldn't change it for anything. You know what I mean? Like, I had the opportunity to go to like the University of Miami, right? That was one of the schools that was on my radar. I had it, like, was set up to go, scholarship, all that good stuff, but I wouldn't change it for anything. Like, I would have made the same exact decision that I made because of what I took from it. So, once in a lifetime experience.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah. You?
Hey, man, listen. I'm just thankful. I'm thankful. I'm blessed. You know what I mean? Curtis, I think you said it best. There's just so many beautiful people. You know what I mean? It's it's not. And I mean, the Hamptonian by construct are gorgeous anyway, but I'm just saying, inside, beautiful people, like, you know what I mean, just very, very down to earth, very, very well mannered, very, very structured. We put the best effort forward. Not to say any other school does or does not, you know what I mean, but I'm proud of the Curtis Rosses, the Thomas Joneses, the Lawrence Watfords, the Ruth Carter's, you know what I mean? Like, there's people out there that genuinely are changing and manipulating that universe that you mentioned earlier. You know what I mean? And having wanted to take my studies to Florida A&M University before I actually went to set for the Hamptons campus, leaving Hampton to go, and I worked at University of Maryland for a decade. You know what I mean? And not to say that it was any worse at all. It just, the experience was a little bit more hollow for me, because it was just the culture was not there. The like you said, the pride. It was that extra. Well, y'all don't march like how we used to march. You know what I mean? Y'all don't got ice milk. You know what I mean? Anybody that had to know about the ice milk. You know what I mean? Or that, the lady in the cab, shout out the lady in the cab, hey baby, want some grits, baby? Anything you want, baby? Everything, baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whipple Barn. Look, that's the only thing I'm gonna say. But whatever. Whipple Barn is a whole other thing. But like I said, being a Hamptonian, man, I'm prideful, I'm thankful, and I just enjoy the space. And it leads me to people like you, Curtis, and like everybody I mentioned, and everybody else that's not mentioned. If you're a Hamptonian, man, it's all love. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be forever grateful for Hampton University for that.
Yes, indeed. All right, well, Curtis, you talked about this a little bit, and you may use the same person, but I got to throw this hypothetically speaking question out to you. We always got one, so here is yours. If you could sit down and have a conversation with one person, past to present, who would it be and why?
Well, actually, I'm gonna take it back to one of the older white men that I referenced, only because I listened to them, but then I even asked myself if I would have a conversation with them. My first question would be, "Who were you talking to?" Because guys, if you look at it, we're in 2021, but let's see what so the so-called black man and woman in America didn't really start getting some kind of actual access to resources until what late 60s.
Yeah, you're right.
And like the guys I'm listening to were recording these very prolific and profound statements on thinking in the 1920s and 30s. So guess what? They were creating content, but for who? They were creating records and writing them, but to who? And so I would be interested in really connecting to understand, okay, well, what was the value of your thought? Were you on the side of the segregation and how people of color were being treated? At the same time, you were talking about how everyone has access to these wealth and riches, how you would literally in a statement talk about, what the Constitution boasts and what the Declaration of Independence boasts. So I would definitely be interested to find out, is there, because we're all human, right? So we get a chance to be profound in thought in our recordings. We get a chance to be prolific in thought in our recordings, but then also when those recordings are shut off, we also get a chance to be human. So I would be more interested in finding out the human part of them and truly how they thought and the circles that they rode in when it came to, okay, that other side of you. And then again, not to judge, but just to understand that, okay, we all have capacity to have indifference. It is what it is. But again, when somebody's deceased and they've only left you their best, then I'm not saying you want to go back and find their worst. But oftentimes what I find is unique is that when you can be your best, when you're fighting and struggling from your worst, that's when you're showing phenomenal human capacity. It's not when you can be your best at your best, but it's when you can be your best and you are actually fighting through your worst. You're fighting through the issues that you're having with others, but yet you're requiring of your mind to bring you into a state of evolution. And that's why that infinite intelligence allows you to connect. And that's what would be my interesting conversation with the white gentleman of the past, is you giving us this prolific and profound information. However, how did you think about the social environment of America during the time you were creating those recordings?
You're fighting through your worst. That's when you're at your best. Hey, that makes me think of like music. I thought of music. I thought of Mary J. Blige. That's the person I went to.
Yeah,
right? If she was going through her worst,
you're supposed to, child.
You know what I'm saying? When she put it out, it was like, whoo! People felt it, people loved it, people vibed with it. But she was almost going through the worst thing she could go through. But look what it brought out. So, yeah, dope. Segue King, let's get it. Speaking of music, what's on your playlist right now? Top 3 songs. What you got?
Oh man, I'm interestingly enough, man, I recycle. I love my hip hop, so I recycle through a playlist. Actually, I literally created a playlist for when I'm in the gym, and I literally just call it beats, because for me, just to kind of give you a little insight on me, I'm big on lyricism. And I learned to appreciate lyricism even just a little bit more when I was at HU, because I got a chance to tap into that northern love. And, whereas our lyricism, the lyricists, the Goody Mobs and the Outcasts out of ATL was definitely putting on the heat as well. The MJG, 8 Ball, UGK, all those guys.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm in between Rick Ross's new album. And so therefore, and I don't have a song off that just yet. But I definitely peeped the Rick Ross new album, and actually I float between that, and because it's gym music, then I'm either in between that Rick Ross new album, and I don't know the title of it, and you got
Richer Than
you got Lil Baby, but you got Lil Baby's track. And it's old with the young heads, but you know how we do it. When we got a track, it just sit with us. Like I'm still playing old Fabulous albums and stuff like that. Yeah. But anyway, it's drip too hard. So that's Lil Baby's track. And like I said, that's old now, but for me, it just still, when it beats so hard, man, it get me pumped up.
Yeah.
And Fabulous Summertime Shootout. He got all that the Summertime Shootout that he took to the album, because you know he had Summertime Shootouts. If you follow Fabulous much, he had the Summertime Shootouts on mixtape, but then he actually made an actual album, Summertime Shootout. Yeah. And I think it's like Summertime Shootout 3 or 4. But anyway, he's got a cut off there. I can't think of the name of it, man. But I definitely Fabulous is a dope artist. Love his lyrical content. And so I'm typically rotated between those sounds, those songs, and just vibing off. And of course, you know, to the late great Nipsey Hussle. When I get on the treadmill, I ride out to Victory Lap. So every time I'm on a treadmill, I put Victory Lap on and I just let it play till I'm off.
Nice. I love it. All right. Cool. This next section is called Words Associated. I'm going to throw out some words at you, and I want you to give me the first word or idea that comes to your mind. If it's more than one word, we're good. No worries. But I want you to give me the first thing that comes to your mind. Ready? All right, here we go. Wellness.
Food.
Wealth.
Mind.
Family.
Time.
Hampton.
Love.
Coach.
Me.
Unapologetic.
Me.
Greatness.
You.
Ross.
Say that one more time.
Ross.
Me.
There it is. That's it. Easy and simple. We get through it. It may feel like a run through, but that's it. I wanted to be real organic. Just say what you feel, say what you think. Dope. Cool. All right. Next question we throw out there. We always want to see where people are. What's one not so popular opinion you have? It can be as simple as hot dog is a sandwich. It can be as controversial as Donald Trump was a great president. What's one not so popular opinion you have?
All right. So not so popular opinion that I carry is the socialism of gender. I'm unfortunately have to tread lightly, but I'm going to tread anyway. But I'm gonna be politically correct in my own opinion.
Yep.
You know, trusting that I wouldn't get Dave Chappelle early on in my career. But when I reference the socialism of gender, is just I believe that there's still room for defining things, and then we develop from the definition. But if we take away the definition, then we don't leave any more room to really understand and define it. Like a chair, Luther Vandross said it best: a chair is still a chair. You know, it's just, you don't get to redefine a chair. Well, you can, I guess you can. And that's what I'm saying. You see what I'm getting at, guys?
Yeah.
If, you know, somebody walks in a room, I guess if they don't want to call it a chair anymore, I guess we have to accept that. So that's what I'm getting to, is that, and again, to use it specifically, because even in my men's group that I have, my Facebook men's group, I have to make sure that I preface that it's for Black males, so that even a male, because again, a Black male or a black male that identifies as male, you know, I have to make sure I say that.
Yep.
Right. And again, and I'm not saying it to complain, but what I'm saying is that there's so many more layers to what used to be a simple conversation. Yeah. And so I understand that a lot of that gets into identity, who we see in the mirror when we look in the mirror, a lot of exposure, a lot of experience. And again, I'm not going to get into all of that. But again, my opinion is that we should be cautious not to get too far away from how definitions allow us to see clearly what is. And when we take away those definitions, especially from a gender relationship standpoint, we gray the lines and we make it almost impossible to be able to communicate or even understand what's right before us.
Yeah. No, it's funny. It's funny you bring that up. I was having a conversation with my wife in the car yesterday, kind of around that. And she was like, she said, don't talk about that on the podcast.
I told you, it's
and I didn't again, I didn't say anything negative. I told her, I was like, I'm just curious. Like, I really do have a lot of questions around it and like thoughts around different beliefs that I think people are developing and having. And I think everybody is entitled to their own thoughts and beliefs. I think it is getting to a point where it feels like there's this it's not necessarily a belief. It's like, this is what it is now versus this is what I believe it is. Right. And like, I was just like, it's very interesting where we're going, because I think it does muddy the waters and gray up some things to where, you know, I think there's enough space to allow people to have their own beliefs. It's sort of jumping into like when you think about religion, and like there's a lot of different religious beliefs, and people who believe it will try to make you believe and say, hey, you should think how I think, right? But you know, I think to every person has their own journey and own thoughts and own beliefs that they walk down, and it gets to this place where I wonder, how far do you go when you're trying to make someone say like, this is what it is, right? If I think, and again, talking to the religious piece side of it, like if you believe in Jesus Christ and like that's your belief, I do believe in, you know, sharing that message with people, right? I think that's something you would do. I'm going to share this message. I want you to hear it out. I don't know if it's in his word to say like, I'm going to villainize you now if you don't walk the way I'm telling you to walk, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where it feels weird, and where we're getting into like a weird place of like, where do we land on this? Because I think everybody is entitled to believe and walk the path that they want to walk, and not feel judged by it. Like, hey, that's your path. But when it starts to fall out into like, if you don't think this, then there's a problem. It starts to become like, okay, you know, I don't know. So
yeah, I'm totally open. You know, for me, and I tell like even when I'm dealing with people, I'm like, you know, it's a no judgment, it's a judgment-free relationship that I have with anyone, because again, it's always about that exposition that involves you, right? So regardless of where you fall in that exposition, if you can the thing about the confidence of truth is that the truth will always be truth regardless of disbelief, lack of understanding, or ignorance. So understand this, that if you are in your truth, then your truth, you can stand alone when you are in your truth.
Yeah.
You don't require support in your truth, because you are true. You truly have the confidence that you are correct. Because see, that's that issue that we deal with, right? Is, am I on the right path? You know? And so when we encounter that question, oftentimes if the confusion of identity is talking to us in various languages, then anybody that we can tune into that sounds like us, we connect with. That's where the social media really supports, I would dare say, certain degrees of ambiguity, where it's just like, it's gray here, but it could be black or white. You know, there could be a more texture to it, but this gray area is because we're trying to create new definitions away from something that really already has a concrete definition. So it's like, but how do you do that successfully and make it stick? Because, you know, can science really, you know, help you get there? Or so it's like, so again, so many more questions come out of it that it's just like, okay, but in the meantime, this is what science and various aspects of society and social norms have proven. And this is kind of what we're doing, you know. So, but again, so for me, is, you know, as we close out this possible line and what we continue to talk about, it is just a matter of, do we want to continue to build a society on ambiguity when it comes to gender conversations, who we are and how we identify, or even do we even want to keep that door open on villainizing people and how they identify with certain things? You know, I mean, that's always continuous conversation as well.
Yep. Facts.
That's fair.
Cool. All right. Thank you for that. That was a good one. Our next one is called Two Flew, Two Words of Wisdom. So pretty simple. What's the best advice you can give someone using just 2 words?
Be you.
There it is. Be you. And the bell right on time. Hear the bell? Ding. Bam. Right on time. So look, we have our next session is 2 flew 2 cents. But before we jump into 2 flew 2 cents, what's next for you? We know you got the Be Dope Summit coming up. Born to Be Dope, sorry. Summit coming up. What else is coming next for you?
Yeah, so I'm officially at the top of the year launching my official business website, curtisross.com. It's a very easy, just my name.com. So I'll have an opportunity for the men that are interested. I have a Facebook group that I'll be growing out. It's called my group is called 100 Men Strong. And my vision with 100 Men Strong, just to share it, is to literally have chapters in every major city in North America, and just to be able to have men that come together on the ideals of physical, mental, and spiritual health. So I'm excited about growing that vision out over the years. So that's what's next, continue to build that group out while simultaneously, or while also on the same hand, working out my personal development coaching business. Definitely going to be working on developing my public speaking component and gaining more clients. And so that's why these types of platforms are just a sincere blessing. So again, I do appreciate you guys giving me this opportunity, because for me, I look at it like a blessing and a privilege, and more than anything else. So it just gives me an opportunity to share my philosophy, share my thoughts, and hopefully get people excited about wanting to join with me. But most importantly, though, getting my website launched officially as of January 1st, and giving people an access point to learn a bit more about me and possibly allow me to coach them on their journey.
Love it. Love it.
Awesome. Y'all heard that. Big things coming at the top of the new year, as you see at the bottom of the screen. Curtis has his social media information flowing across the bottom. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe on all platforms. And now we're going to jump into 2 flew 2 cents, where we just chop it up about things that's happened in the day. So we got 2 questions on tap. The first question is, do you think there's a double standard in sports with players when it comes to vaccinations? And what made me think of this question was just, so Antonio Brown, he tried to buy a fake vaccination card.
Right.
He got suspended for like 3 games and fined some cash. You got Kyrie Irving, who's been like villainized because he won't get vaccinated and can't play games. And then you got Aaron Rodgers, who basically said, yeah, I'm vaccinated, I'm good, got COVID, and it was like, psych, just kidding, I'm not really vaccinated, and did his quarantine and came back. And it wasn't no fine, I don't even know if they slapped him on the wrist. It was just like, it's okay. If anything, he got an interview for it. They interviewed him and was like, talking about it. So I'm just like, what do y'all think about that? That feels like it feels like a little bit of a double standard to me, but I don't know. I'll throw it out there to you too.
Well, I mean, if I put on my Black Power hat, I only need a minute or two with my Black Power hat. Look here, man. At the end of the day, man, gentlemen, you already know, man. The heads of state inside of the sports industry are unfortunately not men of color or women of color. And so when you look at the evolution of the plantation, so at the end of the day, you got the men on the field that look like the team owners, and you got the men on the field that don't look like the team owners. And so the way our brain works, the way our mind works, and the way our social development works, we just gravitate to what's similar, what's familiar to us. Mm-hmm. And go into a room, you got black people on one side, got white people on the other. If you're a black person, more than likely you're probably gonna, like I said, unless you're developed in that room, for the most part, if you're developed to always be around blacks, you're probably going to gravitate to them. And so having said that, yes, there is a double standard let's not create an elephant in the room unnecessarily. There is a double standard inside of sports because of that very reason.
Mm-hmm.
And until we actually stand up and face it, it's going to always be the conversation of, is there a double standard? It's like, why are we having a conversation about that? Of course it is.
Mm-hmm.
Let it be what it is.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think just because it's different sports leagues, different franchises, different people involved, different heads of power, so forth and so on. I mean, there's all kinds of triple standards, there's quadruple standards, just because. I mean, Adam Silver does things differently than the other guy. You know what I mean? Like, the GM for and the owner Leonis for the Wizards can let Bradley Beal play, but the GM and the owner for the Nets won't refuse to let they refuse to let Kyrie play. I mean, that is what it is. I think the biggest thing that I would say with regard to the people that you mentioned, either Antonio Brown, Kyrie Irving, Aaron Rodgers, is, and I'm big on accountability. That's just me. You know what I mean? And I don't know all of the things involved. I was not a fly on the wall in the room when any of that stuff happened. So obviously, I'm saying what I'm saying from a topical perspective. But I gotta say, the Kyrie, however flat his earth is, I mean, he has a right to feel however flat his earth is. I mean, that is what that is, right? Aaron Rodgers, if his holistic approach is his truth, then that's great. That's cool. You know your way around words to bend and whatever. That's cool. You got that. You got that off. But when you talk about forgery now, and that's just really what it is, I'm sorry, Antonio Brown, and he's one of my favorite wide receivers of all time. It's like, come on, dude. How many times can you put yourself in a situation?
Right.
You put yourself in a box, right? If you said he was vaccinated, but he wasn't, that's one thing. If he was like refused and stood on a pedestal, say, I'm not gonna do it, I'm not doing it, okay, that's a whole other thing. But to literally get caught, because that's the only reason why we're having this conversation, is because he got caught. You get caught with the fake medical card.
Well, he didn't get caught. He asked for one and didn't get it, and the person he asked for it told and said he asked for it. Now, the reason I bring that up is because for me, I feel like Aaron Rodgers' offense is more on the side. Like, if the whole thing is that we want to keep players safe,
yep,
right? That's the goal. That's what you're saying. You're falling under this umbrella of we're trying to keep everyone safe.
Yeah.
There is a gentleman who said, I am vaccinated. One, I guess y'all never checked his card because I guess that's not a part of it. His word is bond, right?
They don't have cards in Green Bay.
Cool. They don't have cards. It is what it is. But he said he was, and then he got the virus and then said, I'm not. That's forgery. That's the same thing. You literally are saying, I'm this, but actually, just kidding, I'm not. All Antonio was doing was the same thing. I'm trying to get a card to say I am when I'm actually not. But the difference is he never was on the field. He was injured. So like in this whole thing, he wasn't even there to actually be around players. So I feel the offense is actually worse in my eyes with Aaron Rodgers. And I just don't understand how you penalize one person and say, okay, because you were trying to basically say you were this, but you aren't, I'm going to suspend you for 3 games. But then there's a gentleman who literally says, I said I was, but I'm not. And I got sick around players.
Which caused other people to get
just has to quarantine, and then he can come back and live his life like it's nothing there. Like, I'm sorry, that at least make it the same. But at least make it the same.
Okay, to be fair, I did not know. Again, like I said, I'm speaking topically off of stuff that what I'm reading up on and what I'm catching up on. So I knew that was. I didn't know that was hearsay. You know what I mean? I thought it was. They caught him, with a fake card. No, I mean, if that is the case, then that's unfair. I mean, it is like, okay, slap him on the hand and let him go about his business, and as long as he does his quarantine, he's good. With regard to Aaron Rodgers, see, my thing is this. If he did get caught with it, however, with a fake card, I'm just saying that is issued by they're supposed to be issued by the state government.
Yeah.
So that's an official document. That's like me getting a fake ID and getting caught with my fake ID. Now I'm stupid because I got caught with a fake ID. That just is what it is. Can't be mad at that. You know what I mean? Because you can't be like, well, I got it from this person. No, everybody knows it's a criminal offense to have a fake ID. It's a criminal offense to falsify government documentation. That's just that. Right. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I was led to believe when I heard these allegations. Now, if that's the case, then
he asked for it, the person he asked to get it for him is the one that spoke up. So like he tried to get the card. Like I'm not saying he's innocent at all. Like, you know what I mean? Let's break it down to like even more basic things. Let's say we all trying to get in the club and you got to have your ID to get in the club, right? If I get caught with a fake ID trying to get in the club, cool. I get whatever fine, whatever I'm supposed to get. But if there's someone in the club already who either had a fake, if we're all supposed to have IDs, but he's in the club, and somehow we find out he didn't have an ID,
right?
Who's messed up now? Yeah. That's the club. The club got something going on that ain't right at the door. Something at the door is a little shiesty because, and to be honest with you, I think if Tom Brady, and I'm gonna just keep it 100, if Tom Brady had a fake card, Tom Brady I think would still be on the field.
Well, of course he would be. That's Tom Brady though. That's a little bit, right. And I get it, but it's
the fact that you just said that is the problem. The fact that you said, but that's Tom Brady.
No, I don't think it's a problem at all. I think it's horrible. And it's the double, But again, it goes back to a hierarchy of double standards across America, across the social experiment of life. You know what I mean? We could talk about people of color versus non-people of color. Just double standards is everywhere, and it's okay. See, they listening. The government listening already. Anyway, but so I feel you with that. I like I said, I didn't know that. But with regard to Aaron Rodgers, I got to go on record. I like Aaron Rodgers and everything, but you should be ashamed of your damn self. You do good there, go well. You know what I'm saying? He got on Jeopardy, thought he was smarter than everybody. You know what I'm saying? Nah, bro, we got the rewind button. You ain't got the rewind button. Come on now.
It really comes back to what Ross said in the beginning in his argument. Of course, there's a double standard.
Yeah,
we just say it like it's normal, like and not to call it out, but you said, of course not. That's Tom Brady. That's literally saying, of course, there's a double standard, but we all know that.
Yeah. We've accepted it. Yeah, we say it all the time, and we've accepted it. We know what it is. It's just I think more so culturally. And even with our brothers of color that's in these heavy sports, man, it's almost like, do they understand it? Do they really know it? Or, is the money kind of throwing them off a little bit because they feel like because they're in different rooms because of the money, the double standard somewhat fades away. But at the end of the day, because of the color of your skin, you still got to run faster and jump higher and be stronger than everybody else in the room. That's just how America built this thing right now.
I agree, but I think Kevin Durant would, you know who I am. I'm Kevin Durant. You know me. You know what I mean?
The only sports player right now that I think is trying to, not only the one that I think of is definitely, LeBron. I'm a LeBron hater, but I think when it comes to changing the narrative of how things are run and what decisions are made, I definitely think he's made some moves that people ain't gonna love necessarily for the sport, but when it comes to black men owning their own destiny and their own like next steps and what they do, like. He definitely gets applause from me for what he's created when it comes to the NBA and how people move and the power that they actually have to decide what happens next for them. I definitely think he's a leader in that realm of things. So, you don't hear me giving him flowers a lot, but I'm gonna give him his flowers for that because I definitely think it's a thing. Let's jump into the music industry.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ashanti came out recently and basically said she's re-recording her first album so she can have all the publishing rights and payments, and it was important to her to show ownership. And she said that, she was on I can't think of her name. She was on a radio host. And she was on the show. She said it. Who?
Wendy Williams or something?
Nah, New York.
Was it Angie?
Angie Martinez.
Angie Martinez, yeah.
Yep. She was with Angie and she said it. And I thought, I was like, okay, cool. I seen that. I know JoJo, another singer, she did the same thing. But then Irv Gotti came out and was like, he's like, I don't think it's right. I think it's jive foul. Like, we created magic back then. Like, we worked hard on the production stuff. And like, I feel like everybody got the part that they deserved in that piece for the work that was done. Sure. So I think it's foul that she's coming back trying to take coins. But he said, good luck to her. Let's see which album people vibe with more. Mm-hmm. So interesting. So I throw it out there. What do you gentlemen think about that type of move?
Well, I'll just offer up this thought and I'll give it over to D. We're definitely in a power move kind of culture and scenario, right? Everybody's trying to see how much power they can get out of whatever situation they're in off of their platform. And so, I definitely would say, okay, Ashanti, yeah, for sure. My only thing would be, obviously, she feels confident that with this re-record, she can take this content, record, re-record, or redevelop, or whatever she can do legally. Because I'm thinking that, the re-record potentially writes out some former partners, right? And that's why Herb Gotti had his something to say. So it writes out former partners, brings in some new, and it puts up new money that maybe the old people don't get a chance to partake of anymore. And maybe it even shuts off the faucet a little bit on that old money. Yeah. So yeah, but a power move is a power move. And at the end of the day, I have to say this in my closing remark, power moves are the American way. So, that's what we have learned. And you're either going to learn it the hard way, or like the double standard, you're going to accept it and recognize that it does exist and then play the game and navigate it, but power moves are the American way. And that's what Ashanti's doing. She's abiding by the code of conduct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
No, and I think it's a very valid opinion, Curtis. I definitely do. I think studying up on the music industry for years and understanding copyright law and the whole nine. I'd be interested to see exactly how she evades a lot of the steps around some of the flags that would come up with that. But I think it's well within her right. I think she should be allowed to. You know what I mean? Now, whether or not that's like me sampling the song. I should be able to record the song. Now, whether or not I put it out and get slapped on the hand or sued or whatever for putting it out, that's something different. You know what I mean? But I think for the art of it, you never know. She, especially with the emergence of NFTs and the whole line, basically she's just essentially removing the middleman. And why should she? You know what I mean? That's what, if we in the business and you the draw, you're the bill. Why not? I own it. This thing would not be if it weren't for me, because I'm the one that I'm the linchpin in the whole paradigm of what this represents. So yeah, I should be allowed to do that. You know what I mean? And I would probably be crafty to try to do something like that. You know what I mean? And I'm also one. I believe that there's never stale product. Product never gets stale. You can go back to Hampton University right now and pull out an old Barney Smart classic and put that out. And you know what I'm saying? I don't care how many times you hit them with the wall of sound.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? So you could be like, they did that 20 years ago, but when you hear it again, bro, like that's like wall of sound. You know what I'm saying? So I think with that being said, it's like, I think that she's well within her right. I think that we are in uncharted territory, like I said, with the whole stuff with people cutting out the middleman due to NFTs and stuff like that, and being around the industry right now and having that everybody in the industry, audio wise as well as in the movie studios and film studios and stuff like that, are expanding to see where this NFT thing goes. I think she's well within her right to get in on it, because once that market blows up, it'll be like Bitcoin. You're gonna be chasing that balloon for the rest of your life, and wish you were in front of it. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about it. How you feel, Baker?
It's like a two-edged sword. Like, I think Ashanti definitely wrote and she's the artist. I think Irv and production team made the music. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's two sides of that coin. I think I wish it would have been when I found out it was more like a controversy or like a battle between them. Like, I wish it would have just been like they could have came to the table like, hey, let's renegotiate the terms of this. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Y'all made money for plenty of years now with each other. Like, why can't it be that we just come back to the table? Look, I mean, she can be like, look, I've been in the industry 20, 25 years now. Like, I feel like it's time for me to get a bigger cut of this first album.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably maybe what happened. I don't know all of the details as far as like parent company and like, I don't know if there were some other pieces of it. And maybe the parent company came to her and was like, let's cut out Murder Inc. And I'm not sure of that piece of it. Right. But I really wish it would have been a thing like them saying, we're coming back together, refreshing the album together, and, you know, like split it a better way. Because I'm sure she got a trash deal in the beginning, which like many artists did. And like, I feel here and there on that. Like, the Neptunes got a trash deal when they was dealing with Teddy Riley. Mm-hmm. But the Neptunes saved up their coins and did what they had to do to then go out on their own because they had the talent and say, boom, I'm going to do my own thing. I never saw the Neptunes go back and be like, hey, we produced this and this album. I'm going to re-record it so I can get all the funds off of it. You know what I mean? Like, in some place, they were like, look, I mean, you gave us a trash deal. It is what it is, but we can also now go out and do what we do because now you've given us enough. We got enough money, right? That we can go do what we got to do on our own. And I feel like that's more of the norm that we've seen. I think this new re-recording, like JoJo again, who's the artist who I know re-recorded her first album. I mean, she recorded her first album as a kid. So I think her situation wasn't like, it was like the record label in her. Like, it wasn't like Murder Inc. and they were like building like this family and like, you know, it was like record label versus her.
Yeah.
I think that's a little more clean cut. And maybe there's some pieces of it that are like that I just don't know about. But when he came out and said that, it just felt like, damn, that feels a little funky. Like, I know he put in work for him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like people who hate Puff. Like, I get it. I understand why you hate Puff, but Puff did what he was supposed to do in my eyes. Mm-hmm. Puff said, I'm going to take you and give you a platform, put you out there, and then you got to do the work. And, like, there's no artist that Puff didn't do that for, right? Now, did they all blow? No. But you can't say you ain't no Puff's artist. From Loon to G-Dep to 112 to
Dylon.
Like, every artist that Puff had because he gave everybody the platform. Like, I'm gonna put you in front of millions of people. Now, if you rock with it, great. You know, it's like Jay-Z and Kanye. Like, I mean, Dame really put Kanye out there, but they put Kanye out, and Kanye, with his talent, did what he had to do to keep it moving. Now you got Beanie Siegel or Freeway, who didn't necessarily blow like though, even Memphis Bleak, who didn't necessarily hit that stardom. You can't blame that on Jay or Dame. Like, nah, they did their part. You out there. And Ashanti's the same way. I think Ashanti's done a big deal to like reinvent herself and her image and like have longevity and like people like stunting for her now. And like, I'm all for it. Like, but put another album out. Like, you have that talent, put an album out. Or like, you know what I mean? That's my only gripe with it, is that it just feels like she's cutting out the guy who I definitely think went above and beyond to put her out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think their relationship was, I don't know if I'm not saying they like had a relationship, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I think it was different than just like record label artists. I think that was a different her, Ja, him, like it was different. So I didn't like to see that actually drove a wedge between them. I would have loved to see them celebrate it, like come out with an anniversary, 20-year anniversary of the album, remixed, remastered, we added this, we added that, and it's like a celebration of it more than this kind of like weird vibe of, oh, she's taking money from me. And I didn't love that. So
yeah.
Long-winded opinion, but that's what I thought.
Yeah.
No worries. Real quick, I just wanted to throw this out there. Did you guys check out the Kanye Drake concert?
I saw pieces of it. I didn't
You said,
see it.
what was it? What did Kanye do recently?
Kanye, him and Drake
Big
did
Larry
a
Hoover.
concert in at the Coliseum in LA.
Wow. Okay, dog, man. I
Yeah, it was on
haven't.
Amazon.
Yeah.
It was on Amazon
Big Larry
Prime.
Hoover joint.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
I just figured out that that shit out.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it.
What'd you think?
I mean, like I said, from art perspective, I think the set designer deserves a pat on the back because I mean the budget for that. I mean, if it was more than like $20,000, I'd be surprised. But then then again, it was Coliseum. You know what I mean? But it was really visually, it was really cool how because they was like performing on the top of a spaceship in the middle of the LA, the Coliseum, and when everybody had their cell phones up, it looked like they was in space. It was crazy. It was crazy. Not even gonna lie, visually. But I mean, just a lot where it was just like I could have did without a lot.
I will toss this piece out there. I know they buddy now, but in that past argument of Drake or Kanye, like I think it's another testament to why I think Kanye is just a more transformative artist than Drake. Like that wasn't a Drake concert. No. Drake was there, but that vision is Kanye. That's a Kanye thing. When you see that setup, that whole stage and that idea, like Kanye was actually directing the cameraman, like what to do. There's a cut of him being like, "Hey, you need to get that shot. I need this shot over there." Like he's the visionary of that. Yeah. And I mean, it was great to see two big artists like that do their thing. Great move. But
it was cool. It was cool, but
yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. I could have not lost sleep.
He'll probably go on a tour now. It is what it is. Yeah. Why not bringing the millions? Why not?
I definitely hop on YouTube then and see if I've got some clips up, and I'm pretty sure they're floating around by now.
Yeah. I think it's on Prime. I don't know if you have Prime, Amazon Prime TV.
Okay.
I think that you can see the concert there.
Okay. Check it out.
Cool. Well, gentlemen, look, amazing conversation. So thankful, Curtis, for you to come on, man, and share those gems with us. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you had your pen and pad out. If not, play the replay so you don't miss a thing. Curtis T. Ross, always a pleasure, man, to catch up. This is where we give you a chance to kind of say any last closing words, and then Donnie will close us out for the show.
Well, at the end of the day, folks, now is the only time of day that matters. So just be intentional, be you, and be the rock star that you are, man. But the world is yours. The world is truly ours. And we just need to go get it.
Yes, indeed.
Go straight to the point. Listen, Mr. Drum Major, sir. You was leading us back in the day, and you lead us into 2022. It's such a pleasure to just see just you that guy where it was just like we had that thing in the yearbook. We were like the most likely to succeed in the whole nine. It was always you, brother. And still leading us forward, and just to like you make humble pies, bro. Like you just all I do is humble pie. Like it's mad dope, and just so great to share energy with you. Good to see you moving and move forward as a family man, as a brilliant black brother. One with a very articulate head on the shoulders, man. If we could be of any assistance and help you forward, you got brothers out here that's willing to, we'll throw out for you for sure. So keep us posted on your movements, man. Definitely gonna be in tune, and we're gonna be following and watching.
That's for sure, man. Appreciate you guys. 2 Flew West all day long, man. You got my support, man. Every piece of odds and every bit of odds, man. You already in my network, bro. So we're gonna blow this thing up, though. It's already done.
Indeed. Appreciate it. So with that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in for another episode of 2 Flew West. Make sure you like and subscribe, Curtis T. Ross. Make sure you check out that Born to Be Dope summit coming up. Shout out to all the Hamptonians out there from Taria Avant, Curtis Ross, Thomas Jones, Lawrence Watford, Tiffany Burgess, Jack Manning. This everybody. The list is so deep to name, but it is what it is. Make sure you like and subscribe to them all. Make sure you like and subscribe to Flew West. My brother Nicholas Baker, Donnie B.GotDaBeats. We live on 2 Flew West, and we out. We about to let the planes fly. Yeah.